Today is Big Kingdom Building Day, or Big Building Day, because I'm going to be building something pretty huge, and I want to build a massive church. Hey, what's going on, everybody on YouTube? How's everybody doing? I'm doing just fine. Doing awesome, actually. And wouldn't you look at this gate? This gatehouse over here? Man, it looks so good in detail. I love this build so much. I love walking up to the kingdom. It feels so nice. It feels like you're walking into some sort of role-playing Skyrim game. That's right, D&D. But it feels really nice. I love this so much, and I love how everything's coming into fruition over here at the kingdom side of the base. It's looking nice. In the last episode, we built this lovely fountain. We built a bunch of houses, and we built a custom tree over here, and we built a little well. We did a lot. We did a good bit of building in the last episode, but we're going to be doing even more building, and arguably a lot more building in this episode today. Now, over in this area, you can kind of see it kind of just ends off, right? Like, what are we going to do over here? I mean, sure, we got a couple more houses to put on this side, kind of fill in this little area. But for this whole area, I've been thinking and I've been pondering what I actually want to do. And I do actually have a build planned out for this area over here. Now, sure, Jaguar's base looks really nice and all, and I do love it. I love this view, but it's a very open view. And again, I'm looking for those lines of sights over here at the base. Those like nice little, like, ooh, it grabs your attention when you see it. And it means so much more when that happens and when it lines up. And, well, this view is basically going to be blocked by what we're going to be building. So I want to build a big old church right here at the end. And it's going to look so cool. Oh, I want to show you guys so bad. I want to show you the schematic so bad, but I'm not going to spoil it just yet. What I am going to spoil, though, is that it when you're walking down the street over here, it kind of mirrors Jaguar's Tower, and Jaguar's Tower is like the shadow to the church behind it. It looks so cool. It just looks really cool, and I cannot wait to build it. But first, we have to build up some terrain first. We have to get working on the terrain, because the only way we're going to be able to achieve the actual height and it matching up to not the size of Jaguar's Tower, it's not going to be that big, but for our line of sight to work over there, we have to build up the terrain basically, I think probably up to around this level. So this is where the church is going to be sitting on. This level is where the church is going to be sitting on. And it's going to be quite a little bit of terraforming, but without further ado, let's get to working on placing some blocks. This was a lot of terrain work. Took me a couple hours to get this all in. But essentially, all that stone you see right there is the layout for the church that we're going to be building at the end of this street. And I think it's going to add for a really cool effect. Now, it is going to block the view that we had of Jagged Arrow's base just a little bit, but Jagged Arrow's base is going to be a nice silhouette because there's going to be a tower kind of blocking this tower, but they're going to look cool in combination. I can't wait to show you. It's going to be so cool. But the way I got this church lined up is, of course, lines of sight. You're going to be able to see a little bit of the church through here. You're going to be able to see a little bit of the tower kind of poking through over top the tree. And it's going to be really cool. Now, in the last episode, we worked on all of these houses, of course. We worked on this tree. We worked on the well over here. And I think it all looks really cool. It's all coming along nicely. But yeah, a couple little details as well. I also made this little like kind of bank area here. Just kind of walk down. I might add a pathway in here and might add like a little harbor or something. Just, well, not like a harbor, but like a little fishing dock kind of poking out here. A little Easter egg kind of thing. I love little details like that. I think that'll look really cool. But aside from like all of the church area that I did, we also have this area over here, which is going to get filled in time. I might just do this off camera. It's just a couple houses that are going to go here. And then over here, we're just probably going to have a pathway that's going to lead up and around into like some sort of like more naturey kind of trees over here. Maybe a pathway that leads down into this way and kind of into the muddy area over here. This kind of spiky rocks area. But yeah, I'm super excited to get working on this church. And of course, do I have an ender chest on me? I do. I got the ender chest. I got all the resources collected. That's right. Look at all these resources. Holy smokes. Now, it is a lot. It's a lot of tough. Now, in this build, I'm using a lot of tough and a lot of stone. And there's a good reason for that. Is because now we do have a lot of different gray blocks in the game. It's very nice to be able to shade with all those gray blocks, like going from deep slate to a more of the lighter stone, like the andesites and the stone bricks. We can now add a lot of like shading elements to a build just using gray blocks. And that's kind of what I did for this church. Yes, it is the next morning here. I got done building this yesterday. It took about 4 hours to build this in survival. with all the resources collected. And I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite builds I've done. And not only just because I think it looks really good, but because it has a lot of different techniques I use, a lot of new techniques, and I really want to show them to you. Making our way down here to our little sunken area, little docking area over here, which I love this little, like, kind of just natural little pathway down here. Looks so good. Right over here, we're greeted with the church. Oh yes, and boy is it big. Now let me just go back here, and I want to show you the line of sight that I've been kind of focusing on. This one back all the way, gotta go all the way back here for the start. And if I turn around, you can see, isn't that cool? Isn't that sick? So yes, it does block Jagged's tower, but if you look at it in the sense that it kind of mimics it with those little sticky out bits, and the sticky out bits over here on Jagged's tower, it's kind of like it's the shadow of a tower. It's like, oh, it's right behind it. It looks, I don't know, it just looks so cool. I love it. And I love how that worked out. And if we head on down this way, you can kind of see the first line of sight being revealed. This little, like, doorway, this little, like, you can see the doors all the way down there, and I love that. I think that's just so cool. So yeah, there you go. That's a few lines of sight that we have going here over here at the church area. But I want to show you some of the tricks that I've kind of adapted. Adopted. I guess adapt it works too. While building this, and I wanted to figure out a way to do one of the main things in a church, and that is stained glass windows. Now, I know BOO, he uses like glazed terracotta. You know, you can just use different glass panes, different colored glass panes, and different colored glass. I fell in the creeper hole that a creeper blew up earlier. That traumatized me. I thought I lost everything when that creeper came to blow me up. But either way, yeah, there is many different ways to do stained glass. And I was like, I don't like any of those ways, to be honest. I mean, they're great, but like for me, I want to try and do something a little different. And what I came up with is this trick. Now, it's similar to our trick that we've been doing, which is the frog lights behind copper grates. So it's basically the same thing. The only thing is we're adding another layer to that, and that is the lichen on top of the copper grates, just to break it up even more and add a little bit of color in there. And we're also using stroom lights behind, because I really feel like they give a really nice warm glow. They also have a much stronger color when you're trying to do this trick behind all that copper grate and lichen. So they poke through a lot more than the frog lights do. So yeah, it really looks good. So you have the blue, you have a little bit of green, you have orange in there, you have all different colors. And when you stand back and you really look at this, it really does look like a stained glass window. Now, they're not like really detailed stained glass windows, but you get the idea, right? It's a very straightforward stained glass window. Now, on the side here, as you can see, I just did the copper grate, I think it's like the third stage of oxidized copper grate behind, and have the stream lights behind. Now, what that does is this also looks really nice too. You don't have to have the lichen on top, but you do get a stronger orange color, and I feel like that looks pretty cool. I don't know, I just really like that. The lichen kind of mutes that orange just a little bit, so if you don't want as much orange showing through, so you could just put the lichen on top, and that looks pretty darn good as well. Another trick, sticking on these stained glass windows for a second, the resin on the side. So instead of having a stroom light that's glowing this side, put the resin. The resin, what that does is it creates like this same color, almost same color, but just a dimmed version of the stroom light. So that creates like a nice little shadowy effect when you're kind of looking at the windows from this side. It's sleep time, gotta sleep. Now, I know that's a lot of talking about stained glass windows, but I always felt like that was an issue for me when trying to build churches, and that was one of the biggest challenges that I wanted to overcome when building this. You guys will have to let me know if I succeeded in the comments below. But in my opinion, I think I did. Over here, we also have another trick as well that I've kind of, and Uni came by earlier and loved it. I didn't get it on camera, but he was like, I love these corners right here. And I didn't even tell him about it. But yes, this is another little trick that I've been kind of adapting and adopting and all that good stuff too, because I'm trying to create corners that have a little bit of color, but at the same time create a little bit of a shadow. So we go kind of a gradient in these like corner areas. And that creates a little bit of color for the build, a little pop of color. And it's very subtle, but it helps. It helps break up all the grayness of the build. And not in a dramatic way, but in a very subtle way. I feel like that is a super nice touch to this build, and it looks so good. And we have it all the way around the build as well. Another little trick here as well, right in the front. You'll actually see it on all four sides, because all four sides are just mirrored. This trick right here using walls. Now, you might be saying, oh, walls are normal. That's normal. But what I've kind of adopted here is that you have this kind of background arch, this tough background arch, but then you put the walls and then you continue another arch with full blocks around, and that creates kind of this cool, interesting look of depth. I love that. I think that looks so cool. We got these firefly bushes all around. I think they're so cool. It looks like little spirits kind of flying around the church. I think that's so cool as well. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to show you on this build. I gotta look. I guess the only other thing that I really want to show you is the cross on the church. Now, crosses can be a little bit hard to do when you're doing churches, because like you can use fence gates, but I think the fence gates stick out a little bit too much. Here, I kind of compromised. I made I just did the regular fences on each side. I think this is like 4 blocks tall. Yeah, 4 blocks tall, including the stained glass panes. But I add the stained glass panes in there because it creates like this nice like little like yellow kind of silhouette all around. And kind of balances it all out, helps it make sense. And I think it makes for a really cool like cross design. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's not the traditional, but it definitely looks epic. It looks sick. I love it. And of course, we got some more firefly bushes up here, and yeah, I feel like this build really did come together pretty nicely. I'll be honest with you, I struggled just a little bit. I looked at one little reference image just to kind of help me out and get me going, because I hadn't built a church in a while. But I feel like it really did work out, all in all. And you guys can let me know now in the comments below what you think of it, if you like any of the tricks that I show you, and if you're going to use them on your build. I would love to know. But over here, as you can see, if you're wondering what it's going to look like next to these two massive builds, it definitely gets dwarfed, but I think that's a good thing. It's in a good location to where it can get dwarfed. It can feel like a littler build. Like it doesn't need to compete with Jaguaro's base. It's not trying to, but it's also not trying to compete with the castle. I actually feel like it's the perfect size in comparison to these two builds. It doesn't take away from Jaguaro's base. It doesn't take away from the castle. With the rocky terrain down here and all the custom terrain, it really does look so good. But yeah, so exciting stuff. I absolutely love how this church turned out. I think it really looks good, and all the lines of sight lining up perfect. I mean, it really does look good. You might be wondering, is there an interior skunk? No. And there probably won't be for this build, unfortunately. But but that's to leave it up in the air. The way I like to look at interiors is they're like a whole nother build in themselves, because they can be just as detailed as the exterior. So it's better just to get the exterior down, in my opinion, and have something that's just established. Unless you need it to be a usable functional build, then obviously do the interiors. But if you just want something to look pretty, exterior is all that matters. Interiors are overrated. I'm just kidding. We might do it in interior, but again, it's best just to get the looks of the outside down, in my opinion, for this kingdom in particular, and then we'll focus on interiors later on. It feels like I'm about to jump into a bale of hay. All these little ledges. It's so cool. I love it. This is really cool. But yeah, that is going to do it for this episode of the Afterlife SMP. Hopefully you guys enjoyed everything from this build, from this episode today. We got a lot done today. We did the terrain work over here. We built the church. I mean, my goodness, what more could you ask for over here? I think in the next episode, we're going to be working a lot more, filling out the kingdom, going up the hill. And I think that's really going to make this kingdom feel a lot more full. I mean, we've done a lot of work over here, a lot more building and expanding onto the base. And it's looking just so cool. Thanks again, guys, for joining me on this one. I do appreciate it. As always, don't forget to be awesome. And I'll see y'all in the next one.